dia del referèndum, jornada
At least 750 people injured during showdowns with police over a referendum on seceding from Spain.
Rajoy ha dicho que hoy no ha habido una consulta.
Carlos Puigdemont aseguró que declararía la independencia a finales de esta semana o a inicios de la próxima.
We're taking a second crack this week at the politicized, polarized coverage coming out of Spain in the aftermath of the independence referendum in Catalonia. Hundreds of would-be voters were left injured in a brutal police response to an electoral process the Spanish government called unconstitutional. That provoked another round of largely partisan coverage, the tone and content of which depended on the news source, whether the report was coming from outlets based in Madrid or Barcelona. Journalists at the Madrid-based national broadcaster TVE are calling out their own bosses for one-sided reporting. On the Catalonian side, the coverage on the publicly funded TV3 was similarly biased. The rival channels do have one thing in common: the way they're run. A legal change made 5 years ago allows both governments to directly appoint the heads of their publicly owned TV channels. Politicians may like that, but the resulting journalism leaves much to be desired. Our starting point this week, once again, is the Catalonian capital, Barcelona. When assessing journalism, it's not just what you see, it's what you don't see. Open and shut, case in point, Catalonian television and international news outlets all led with images of police battling and in some cases bloodying people trying to vote in Barcelona. Madrid's state-owned TVE started with this.
¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. Primera, valoración del gobierno de la situación que se está viviendo en Cataluña. La vicepresidenta...
The channel showed what looked like a standoff, skirmishes, nothing more. Police breaking a door down, carting away ballot boxes, not swinging their batons at people. And the first voice Spaniards heard, apart from the anchor duo at TVE, was an official one from Madrid.
No ha habido referéndum, ni apariencia de tal.
Han empezado, en lugar de hablar.
TVE began with the political side of the story. Comments from the Deputy Prime Minister. Instead of starting with the events in Catalonia, they altered the natural order of this news story. They assigned greater importance to the government in Madrid. Even though the story was about Catalonia, it's a constant subversion.
Esta es la subversión.
I could not follow every detail of TVE's coverage. However, I did see a Spanish policeman helping a man with his
En
son.
un momento de máxima tensión, uno de los agentes ayuda a un padre a bajar a un menor de sus propios hombros para evitar.
It's great that the police are considerate with children, but to elevate one single story into a heroic act on a day when almost 900 people were injured could be seen as a bit unbalanced.
Desequilibrado.
Journalists tend to be skeptical creatures, so newsrooms can be hotbeds of discontent. But you will seldom see a revolt as public as the one at TVE. The hashtag says vergüenza, Spanish for shame. TVE employees in Madrid waved those signs at their senior producers who issue editorial orders and who remained in their seats.
Esa protesta que no fue organizada por el Consejo de...
The protest was not organized, it was spontaneous. It made absolutely clear to the management that we do not condone this behavior. We feel ashamed. We are seeing things on other channels. State television, which should be the first to tell the public what is happening, actually relinquished that obligation altogether. They have chosen not to report on an extremely serious matter, one of the biggest constitutional crises of recent years. That's why we are calling for the resignation of the head of news.
Pedimos su dimisión.
Which brings us to how TVE's head of news, Eladio Jareño, got the job. Up until 2012, if the Spanish government wanted to appoint a new director of TVE, it required the consent of 2/3 of Parliament, a rule meant to ensure a consensual approach in the running of public broadcasting in Spain. The government of Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy's Popular Party changed that, reverting back to the days when the government could make that appointment unilaterally and stack the journalistic deck in its favor.
No deberían ser los políticos los que nombran.
Politicians should not be able to appoint the directors of public television. They should be chosen by an independent professional body which rewards professionalism, not their willingness to follow a particular political agenda. TVE is acting as press officer for the government in Madrid, and TV3 is acting as a press officer for the Catalonian government.
Because that rule change did not just affect Madrid and the way TVE was run, it also allowed the regional government in Barcelona to appoint its own man to run TV3, the publicly funded broadcaster in Catalonia. TV3 and its sister news channel, 324, have a clear pro-independence bias, reflecting the position of Catalonian President Carles Puigdemont. 324 is not above taking the story from referendum day and decorating it with a rousing soundtrack, taking dramatic license, melodramatic license, with the news.
La absoluta irresponsabilidad de la Generalitat ha tenido que ser suplida por la profesionalidad de las fuerzas y cuerpos de seguridad. Ellos han cumplido las órdenes de la justicia, han actuado con profesionalidad y de modo proporcional y proporcionado.
When Puigdemont came to power in January 2016, one of his friends and actually former business partner was appointed the director of the Catalan radio. This year, actually, one very pro-independentist movement journalist, Vicente Sanchis, was appointed the director of the Catalan television. The current director of the TVE was the chief information officer of the Catalan Partido Popular, meaning that he has a clear political profile also. And the consequence is what we have nowadays.
En cualquier caso, se equivocaron.
The government in Madrid made a mistake, putting the party faithful in charge of the state broadcaster. It wasn't just that they were jeopardizing a basic civil right, they were compromising a public service, a service that belongs to the people, that is paid for by the people.
Many of the staff at TVE have complained about the polarization of the news and their loss of audience. It shows that people have noticed what is happening there, and the vacuum left by TVE is being filled by La Sexta.
La Sexta is a privately owned center-left channel that launched just over a decade ago and has seen its audience share explode from 6% to 25%. Compared to TVE and TV3, its approach to this story has been much more balanced.
They have tried to be what they consider to be neutral or balanced, and they've got attacks by the most independentist sectors.
Que se encuentra a pocos metros de aquí, cargaban sus maletas en una furgoneta y tenían que ser escoltados.
But also by the most conservative sectors of our society. Of particular interest is the position of a very popular TV presenter, Jordi Évole.
En 2014, en el Parlament, se presentó una moción a favor de la autodeterminación del Kurdistán. ¿Usted recuerda qué votó?
He doesn't share the position of the independentists nor the position of the government of Madrid. And he's been accused by both sides of being precisely of being neutral.
One final point on TVE. For the second straight week, we contacted Spain's publicly funded broadcaster to give it a chance to respond to its critics. Once again, it declined. For all intents and purposes, TVE is saying of its coverage, no comment, the way a politician would.
The future of journalism, at least in Spain, is coming to an end. We've reached the stage where journalists are soldiers fighting in trenches, working for a particular cause. When reporting the news, journalists should be stateless. They shouldn't raise any specific flag. They should actually raise all of them and be at the service of all of them, not just one.
Servir a todas, no solo a una.